how big of a motivation was the navigational part of it, being able to navigate from Charleston to Columbia and other cities, as it was the hydroelectric?
Right. Very good question, and it has a lot to do with practicality and politics. It was thought that there would be a demand for barge traffic, for example, between Columbia and Charleston, or Charleston and Columbia, much the same way in colonial times of trading up this way, you know, with deer skins or something like that. So it was put forth that not only is this a hydroelectric project with electricity, which was just maturing to the point where people were having electricity. This is also an inland navigation project, commerce, inland commerce. But of course, in practical terms, it hasn't really worked out. Occasionally we have barge traffic come through here. When we cooperated very much so in the production of the Hunley movie that Turner, I believe, did. That was filmed right where you were the other night in Pinopolis at the Point, and they used that as a filming location. And so they brought up from Charleston on a barge part of the Housatonic that the Hunley sank, of course, in 1864, part of that used in the filming. But has the inland navigation aspect of the project panned out? No, it hasn't. The lock is mainly used by recreational interest in boating, which is, of course, the economic impact of recreation on the Santee Cooper Lakes is about $400 million a year. When the lakes were finished in 1942, late 1941, November of 1941, the Santee Dam was closed off and the lakes began filling up. These lakes are the home of the world's first landlocked striped bass fishery. The striped bass is like a sea fish. To complete its life cycle like a salmon, it must come from the saltwater to freshwater to spawn. Well, it was thought that the ones that were trapped would eventually die off, but lo and behold, Mother Nature has its way sometimes, and this was the first example in the world of striped bass, also called the rockfish, reproduced successfully in fresh water.
Got to meet a lot of locals, people who worked at the state park, people who worked at that bait and tackle place, and Santee was basically a term that covered everything. It was a Santee this, Santee that. Right. We fish Santee. It's the whole area is just the Santee area. But I heard very few people call it Lake Marion.
That's right. And you know, you were going to Santee, and you know, when you say Santee Cooper or Santee Cooper Country, it encompasses 5 counties. You know, going, you know, from north to south. It's you know, it's Calhoun, Sumter, Clarendon, Orangeburg, and here we are in Berkeley County. So it's in 5 areas. 5 counties, and that 5-county area covers that region of, you know, of the state. It really literally goes from the low country where we are. We're definitely in the low country, and it goes all the way, you know, to the Midlands. Yeah. There's just a lot of history here to see. In 1863, the first semi-submersible torpedo boat was constructed by the Confederates here, called the Little David. And the Little David was a steam-powered craft that actually pulled the Hunley around on training missions in Charleston Harbor a couple of times. Built right here at Stony Landing, and it was the first successful torpedo boat attack in the history of naval warfare. It happened several months before the Hunley attack in 1864. Stony Landing at the old Santee Canal Park is 40 miles from Charleston Harbor by water, even closer if you're up in Goose Creek or Hanahan area, and it's an opportunity for folks that have never explored the Cooper River to come up river and dock at the floating dock and enjoy the old Santee Canal Park. The Canal Park has an interpretive center and a gift shop, so does the museum, and there's just a lot of history here